In this video, we will start to explore how we can solve one of the very common issues with Vlookup that we can solve by using choose function together and with the Vlookup function. Alright, to understand this, you must understand how Vlookup works, and you must understand one of the key issues with Vlookup. And this is a very common issue, and the solution for this is quite advanced. However, once you know this, you'll be very happy to know this, because this will be very useful, especially in cases where you're not allowed to adjust the table data. So let me show you first here. So we have here a situation where we have the table data. And you can see here this table data has been optimized for Vlookup. Well, the lower table data has not been optimized. And this is, to be honest, a far more logical structure of data. Let's be honest, you first put in a product ID, then you have the product name, and then you have the amount of items sold, or if there would be a price or a menu or something like that, anything like that. However, you can see here above, we optimize it, because if we don't optimize it or restructure it for Vlookup, Vlookup will give you an error. Why? The matching value must always be first in Vlookup. To make it very clear, let me show you exactly how to do it, or what I'm talking about. So I'm going to show you two scenarios. You will see the second scenario will give us an error. Alright, let's start first with this option here, because what we will do is we get the largest value by default. So we use a formula, the large function, to get the highest value from the list, and after that we will get the matching product name. So to do this, we type in here equal large, open parentheses, and then you see here array and k value. The array value is basically the list or the source value, which we have here. So we select this, and then what we have more is the k value. So what is the k value? The k value indicates what are we looking for. Are we looking for the highest value, which is number 1, the second highest, which we can put in number 2, etc., etc. So we can go on like that. However, in our case, we want number 99, which is the highest or best selling product, and the name eventually we want to match with it is milk tea. So let's type a comma. We say number 1, enter. So now we have the value, which is number 99. And it's time now to get the matching product name, which is milk tea. So for that we use Vlookup, open parentheses, and then you can see here, what is the lookup value? Well, the lookup value is 99. That's the one here above, comma, table array. So what is the table array? We will use these values here, because here we will find the value or the data we need. And once we did that, comma, we need the column index number. And the column index number, if we understand here how the table array works, this is the table array, this is the starting point. So this is first column, this is the second column. So we want the value of 99, but we want to extract the second column name, which is milk tea. So we say number 2, comma, do we need exact match or appropriate match? In this case, always exact match. 90% of the cases, exact match. So we say false. Enter. Now we get milk tea. Alright, so this works perfect. So we are all happy. Let's do exactly the same, but then for the opposite. And here we will see and experience the issue. So what we're going to do is, first say large, open parentheses, we select the values here. Oh, sorry, we will select this array value, comma 1, close parentheses, number 99. Now let's pay attention, because now we will see the Vlookup. So we open up the Vlookup function, lookup value, well, that's number 99, comma, table array, we select here the table array, comma, column index number. Remember, we had first the column index number is number 2 here, because that's the product name. Now it's on the first one. And Vlookup cannot function like that. So, but I'll show you exactly what will happen. So we say number 1, and then we say false, exact match only. We only want exact match, enter. Now we get the value NA, not applicable or not available. Reason why is this? It cannot search, because it starts from left and then it goes to the right. So right now it's missing this part because it doesn't see that, because here it starts to find the value and then it looks, wait, where's the value here? It cannot see going back. How can we solve this? Well, easy. We will use the choose function, and the choose function is very powerful. So let me show you exactly what the choose function does, and then we can use that and incorporate it immediately into our Vlookup function, and you will see then the Vlookup will work. Alright, so let's see here. The choose function basically reorganize the table that we have here in a formula as we desire. So let's start and work with the choose function. And what we want to do is, just to make sure, we want to reorganize this value into this structure so that it's user or Vlookup friendly, Excel friendly to be correct. Alright, however, it's not user friendly because I personally prefer this structure, but Vlookup cannot. So what we want to do is, we want to get this table and move this here, while this should be here. And the reason we do this with the formula is because sometimes you're not allowed to adjust the template itself or the source code. Alright, so we say here equal choose, open parentheses, and then we have here these options here. You see here index number and value, and then we have here more values. So what we want to do is, we will select here the index number we want to show first. So question number 1, what's the first one we want to show? Well, we have here 1, 2, and 3. We want to show this first, this specific index number first. So, and this is on number 3. This is in column number 3. So we say number 3, comma. And then we start to select the value. So we can start here, or you can start, well, you can start here, but then this will be number 2. So we just start here. This is column number 1. And remember, the values must be column. You cannot select like this because it cannot see it like that. This is your value, comma, column number 2, comma, column number 3, and enter. So now, as you can see, we move this here to the first position. And I can imagine you say, well, but wait a minute. Does it mean I need to use 3 times the choose function just to get this table correct? No. Luckily, we can use an array value where we can move it together. And if you're confused what is an array value, well, don't worry, we'll see here. Well, we have this value here, and we say here, number 3. However, right now in Excel, we can only use a number here. If you would say comma, show now, the second one, which would be this, number 2 here, you will get an error. As you can see, it's confused. It does not work. It says, wait a minute, what's going on here? What do I need to show first? Yeah, so we have to remove that. What we need to do is we need to make here in Excel a very clear statement that this is an array. An array is basically say there's not only one value in here, but there's multiple values within the number 3, so within the index number. So we want this index number to indicate it's an array. So what is this? Well, here, so we say this. We want to have this one first, and then we want to show this, and then maybe we want to show this. Alright, so we say here number 3, and then number 2, and then finally number 1. Doing this with the curly brackets will indicate and tell to the Excel function that this is a array of values. Alright, so let's start and go back here. So we're going to remove this, and we say curly braces. Alright, open and close, and then we say number 3, comma, number 2, comma, number 1. Press enter. Oh, there we get something. We are getting some issues and because we are blocking something, so we remove the text. And now, as you can see here, we have the items. So make sure, of course, that you have enough space, or else you get the spill value here, which will mean it will block or overrule or overwrite any other values, which Excel will not do if in this case. Yeah, so it gives you a warning. So you have this here, alright, and I can imagine you say, well, wait a minute, does it mean I need a double data? No, you don't need. Why? This formula is basically in the mind or in the memory of Excel. So we can use this formula and incorporate it here. Oh, incorporate it in our Vlookup. Because here we have the Vlookup value, and then we have this item here, the table array. Alright? So what we're going to do is we're going to readjust the table array now. Let's get the function here. Choose function. Alright. Go back here. And then we look here at this one, the table array value. We're going to remove this. We delete. And then also we have to delete the number 1. Yes. We just put it in here. Enter. And now it shows you 99. Why does it show you 99? You might be confused. Wait a minute. Is it wrong? Well, no. We said we want the first value. Remember? The first value now is this. Because in the memory, it sees a new function. Or it sees a new table. We want now our product table. So that's number 2. So we go back here. And we say here, number 2. Enter. And now we get milk tea. And this is how it works. And if we would, for example, say now, here, we don't want the K value to be the top, but the best seller, or not the best seller, but the second best seller. So what's the second best seller? Well, if we look here, number 60 would be hot chocolate. Number 2, enter. There you are. So what if I would delete this? You say, well, will it still work? Yes, of course. Because we have this here just as a visual representation. And now you can see it works perfect. No database here available and no issue with your data. This is how it works. And if you would adjust this, let's say here, let's make this 150 banana cakes. And this was the second, right? So we're going to remove this and put it in number 1. Banana cakes. And if we do this 400 times brewed coffee, there you are. And this is really nice because now you solve the VLOOKUP issue that's very common. While you don't have to readjust your Excel table data, or especially, and this is very common, if you're not allowed to adjust because you get the data from another source and you're not allowed to adjust or reorganize it, this is the way to do it. With a formula, where Excel just keeps it in his memory, in the memory of the machine without any problems. And if you would want to readjust it, and you would say here, for example, you want the product ID, which is the third table. Remember, this is number 1. Table number 1 is as the third things, the third table or column. So we say here, number 3, enter, and then you see here, 400 is brewed coffee, is product ID number 1. And this is how you can play around with it, and completely with formulas. If you like these kind of advanced Excel and crazy tips about Excel, subscribe to my channel. And if you have questions, or maybe you're struggling with this choose function, combining with the VLOOKUP function, just let me know. Put a comment in the description, or put a comment down, or ask me a question. I'll make sure I'll follow up on you.